Alright guys, welcome back. I hope you like the zombie deck profile. Right now I have another deck. Actually is the reason why I came back to Yu-Gi-Oh! Like 2 or 3 years ago. When I first seen it, I fell in love with it. Sadly because of the meta back then, I wasn't playing too much, but I'm building it. Right now it's an incomplete deck, but I'm going to make it how I want it, and it's very very good. And I'm talking about Lair of Darkness. Right now with the meta, this is a really good deck because it's trap based, and then anything in the meta right now cannot really stop it because it doesn't do what pretty much the meta is doing. It goes the opposite way, so it's really good. Obviously, the first card, 3 copies of Lilith. This is pretty much the engine itself, the heart of the deck. Without this, the deck doesn't really work. Then other cards for the deck, Arima. Arima is really good too because not only it searches your field spell, which is another really important card in the deck. It draws or it searches a regular monster, a fiend monster. Well, not a fiend. Anything that has 2,000 or less, no, or more defense, and it has to be a dark. So it's pretty much anything in the deck. So it's really good. I like Arima. It's really good. The other starter, it will be tour guide. I play at 2. 3 is not the ideal thing for me. I do want to see it, but I don't want to have multiples in my hand. I like the ratios. This is a target for tour guide to bring him out. Really good. Like I said, searches almost the whole deck. So that's what I like about the deck. It gets you whatever you need. So it's really good. Scarm, the same thing. This is more limited, but it still gets you your starter tour guide. It gets you your Lilith. It's really good. You don't need to normal summon him. You can just dump him from hand, deck, anywhere. As long as it goes to the graveyard at the end of the phase, you get the effect, which is good. I'm also playing a small package of Artifact. Sadly, I don't have the blue one. I'm actually going to buy the blue one. But it's supposed to be this one and then the blue one, which this one negates, well, not negates, but it doesn't let your opponent pretty much special summon from the extra deck, which is a turn that you actually win. You pretty much force them to finish your turn. Or if you're playing a deck that you don't need that card, you can special summon the blue one and just pop something. It's really good. I like this. For hand trap, I'm only playing 2 currently. The reason why, because you can actually search this through Sangan, so it's not bad. I will play more, but this deck cannot afford to play a lot of hand traps. Then for the other cards, I'm playing one Jack because same thing with Skarm. If he goes to the graveyard any type of way, I can pretty much look at the top 3 cards and rearrange them however I want it. And then on my opponent main face, I think, I can banish and then mill the first card of the deck. And if it's a trap card, I can set it instead of going to the graveyard, and I can actually activate it that turn. Now, sometimes it doesn't come up because I don't have a trap card. But if my next draw is something dead or something I don't need, if I don't really need it, I can just activate the effect, dump it, or I can rearrange it to a point that I don't really draw it. So this is actually really good. I like the interaction with Jack. Now for spells, obviously the card that you need the most, Lair. A lot of people sleep on the card. They might not want to negate it, and sometimes actually they don't need to negate it, but you won't know. And having Lair on the field pretty much almost every time wins you the game, and that's the card that everyone that plays against Lair of Darkness should pop. Sometimes I bait it. Sometimes I have nothing in my hand, and I make the opponent just waste a negate or a pop or whatever. But trust me, it's better for you to pop it or negate it than have it on the field. If you have it on the field, just know that you might actually lose the game. This card, to be honest, I like this more than Zombie World, and that's something strong that I'm saying because I really love Zombie World. I'm a zombie player for life. I've been playing zombies since a little kid, but with Lair of Darkness, this is broken. Trust me. If we ever get more support, Lair of Darkness will be a way better deck. But right now, I like it. To search, I have Terraform Me because you do need this as soon as possible. Sometimes There are hands that you don't really need it, but the sooner you get to Lair, the sooner you win, because this card actually wins you the game. That's how broken it is. Then to search your starter or for advantage, you need Ties of the Brethren. It's a card that I really didn't play a long time ago, but now because of the meta and how slow it is, it's actually very good. Because if I resolve this, most of the time I will search Nash and I'll get a good amount of advantage that I might not win the game because of this card, but it helps a lot. With this, it can actually help me grind. So I do like the fact that actually gives me a lot of value. And on top of that, I don't special summon that much. And as you see, I don't play Super Poly in the main. I play it in some side decks, so this doesn't actually mess up my strategy. So I really like this. This is a really, really good card. It sucks if you get Ash, but hey, you have to try. For a really spice tech that I use, and not a lot of people I seen in YouTube use it, and it's really, really good for going second or actually just against your opponent overall. It's just a really good card. It's mind control. It's sad that it's not a trap, so you cannot really search it with Lilith, but it's really good. Especially it has a lot of play. You pretty much take two of the opponent's monster if a Lair's on the field. You tribute for one and then you steal the other one. It has a lot of things that you could do, trust me. This card is super broken. Sometimes it comes up when I don't have Lair and it does suck. But when I do have Lair, this card is pretty much the card I want to see because it gets over a lot of things. Trust me, I love this card. For Jack, for Skarm and other stuff, I use Foolish because it thinks out my deck. And it's a card that I will always prefer having in my hand because, Foolish Burial, it's overpowered. And the reason it's at 1 because it's super overpowered. So having Foolish Burial in this deck is not bad. Especially that I don't have a lot of bricks. So having this things out my deck, I get other cards. It's amazing. I like it like that. For draw power, I do have 2 pot. 3 is too much. I never really like having 3 pot because I am lucky enough to always draw a pot from a pot, which kills me. I hate it every time. Another card that I'm running to draw, which I might take out, but right now I do need it because I don't have the full deck. It's Lair Darkness for consistency. I do need a draw. This deck is really good. It's explosive sometimes, but most of the times you run out of cards in your hand, and the recovery of this deck is horrible. So this deck, if it goes on and if it starts running, it's a really good deck, but it's very fragile because you're pretty much running on few cards that once you don't have them, it's really hard for you to keep going. For trap, the trap lineup is pretty good. I'm playing 2 torrential because of the meta. The meta is a little bit slow, and this is a blowout card. Sometimes if you time it well, you torrential your opponent. There's nothing else that they could do, and it's a searchable trap through Lilith. Now another searchable trap is Ballista Squad, really, really good. Like I said, the only bad thing I could say about this card, without Lair on the field, it's not that good. But this is pretty much similar to mine. I mean, enemy controller. The only thing is that this pops a card, but if you have Lair, then you could use 2 of the cards. So you pretty much, U plus because it could be 2 monsters or it could be a spell card. It doesn't matter, especially if you're playing against a mind control deck, or it doesn't matter. Bunch of stuff. This is really good, and this is your removal. For the artifact, obviously you have artifact sanctum. I'm only playing 1 right now, but once I get the blue, I'll play it, and then that's why I have 2. I don't have trap check. I'm also getting trap check, so with trap check this is even better. And most of the time going first, I never lose. Now because I don't have most of my cards, I'm using some filler cards. This is not bad against the meta right now. It's pretty good against VFD and other cards. The only thing you do need is Lair on the board, and then with this pretty much you clear the whole field. You are able to look at their hand. depending on their hand, they lose some cards. And for 3 turns, if they draw a monster with, I think, 15 or less defense, it gets destroyed. So this is really good. This is pretty much, if it happens, you pretty much win. It doesn't happen that often, but once it happens, it helps you win game. That's only virus I play. I don't play the rest. The rest pretty much sucks. For other trap that I do like right now, Dogmatica, this is pretty much a must because this is pop 2. You send enters and then you pop another card. It doesn't have to be a monster, by the way. It could be with enters, it could be a trap card, anything on field. So I love it. And then my last 2 cards, it's back to the front, which I'm missing one. I will play 2 copies of this because it's very needed. And then the last is pretty much terraforming, but the trap version, metaverse. You do need Lair. And that's pretty much it, guys. I'm not going to show you the extra deck because the extra deck, I'm still working on it, and that's also depending on your locals. That's something that you should do for your liking. Something that I use for my extra deck might not work for you, so that's something that you do need to work out yourself. And my side deck, it's pretty much the same thing. You know, pretty much hand traps or Nibiru. You know, obviously I do play Super Poly, so it's stuff like that. But like I said, it's up to you guys. Depending on your logos. In my logos, I run, you know, a good amount of cards that will help me for my logos, but I don't know how the meta is in your logo. That's why I'm not deciding. And on top of that, it's not a full deck. But I hope you like it. I will, as soon as possible, once I get the full deck, I will show you guys the difference. But I still actually like this deck. I played it against a friend, and it didn't perform that bad. Alright guys, thank you for watching the video. I will also give you guys the new profile on the zombie deck as soon as possible. I just need to add some few cards. But I'm also trying to make it as budget as friendly. I don't play all these expensive cards because at the end of the day, they can win you a little bit more, but doesn't mean that you need them in the deck. Don't get fooled by you know what people say, and don't spend your life savings on cards that 2 months in this year probably will drop like $20, and you just spend $100 for a card that it's gonna be worth nothing in the few in the few months. So with that said, thank you very much, guys. Anything else, comment, subscribe, and that'll be all for today, guys. Bye.